got a few questions to go over.
Yeah.
So with regards to when you're on tour or you're doing an album, how
Yeah.
do you decide on guitar effects to use? What's the process?
To be honest, it really is regards to what was on the demos mostly. So I'll sometimes be inspired by a new sound that I'll just come across. Since there's a program called Native Instruments, and it's basically called Guitar Rig 5, I think it is. And quite often when I'm doing, I'm not actively searching for a sound generally because I don't know what I want until I get it. But occasionally, if I stumble across something, and then the last few tracks I have as well, then I think that's a great sound. I don't even know what effects it takes to get that sound all together.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different effects that are in these kind of like guitar modules that like reflectors and I don't know, I can't even think, bit crunchers and what I mean, like what's that? I don't know. It sounds great. Put it on.
Yeah.
So that's basically how it is. But I am a little bit careful about going completely effects mad in the studio because I'd like to get somewhere near it when I go and play it live.
Yeah.
And what I have found now is that it takes for instance, there's a few of my songs on both my live album and the second to last studio album that have got 3/4 delays on, or half-second delays on, or quarter delays on, or whatever it might be, and certain amount of repeats in it. And it kind of like, for me in my own head, if that's not there, part of the song's missing. But I'll find that we'll start a song and either the drummer's not playing to the click, or we decide we're not going to use a click on this song, which means I have to start tap tempo in, and so you have to, because it could be different each song, each gig could be a different tempo. So you have to listen. Okay, that's the tempo. So tap tempo. Okay, now we can set it going. Then it works, and because God forbid you start a repeat going and it's completely out of sync to the rest of the song, it can sound horrendous.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing with delays, isn't it? You can have a sounding delay and you can set it all up, but if not in the correct tempo.
Exactly. I mean, if you have a real quick delay, it doesn't really matter. But I mean, a lot of mine have, like I say, got half seconds or whatever. And if it's a few BPM out, it sounds like a train crash, like you say. So with I used to have I think it's a TC Electronics flashback, and it's got a great delay on there, but you can't tap tempo it. So that's, to be honest, I was looking for a tap tempo, and that's why I ended up with the Strymon, the El Capistan, because you can tap tempo and then set it going, and it's a great delay pedal.
Yeah, it is absolutely. And we've had a few questions from some members in the forum. Benjamin Lease has asked, how do you break out of the stereotypical blues patterns to create something new and exciting?
Yeah, I mean, that's difficult. I mean, if you're trying to do that when you're at home, just by listening to different people, I think. I mean, like I say, we all have our go-to kind of things if you're playing live, and you have your go-to licks, you have your go-to things, and you're playing a safe game. But a lot of it comes as to just being inspired in the evening, or the audience participation, or the feel that you get from the audience. You can't plan for it, but you get these, and everyone describes them as electric moments. And generally, if you did record it and you listened back to yourself, you wouldn't be able to tell how you played it anyway. You'd be like, I mean, sometimes I'm playing going, how am I doing this? Oh, I like that, I'll do that again. Sometimes I can't do it again. It's just a one-off thing.
With me, it's the way I play something and think, I can't believe I just played that. It's a very different process for me, as in...
Yeah.
That sort of.
Yeah, well, the other thing as well is I know the best way to learn, I find, for yourself is to record gigs or record your playing, and go back and listen to it. Jesse Davey, a good friend of mine in America, who's making pedals and all sorts of stuff. He records every gig and listens to it on the way to the next gig, so he can go, oh, I don't want to play that bit again. Oh, that's a good bit. I'll take that again. I'll do that there. Not so he can really choreograph a solo, but just so he can hone it, so he's not making any mistakes.
Self-analysis, and it's how we improve, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I've recorded stuff, I tend to find that when I record stuff, I'll listen to it after it's been produced. But very often, I'll listen to it a few times and I'll put it away because I'm very analytical. So
Yeah.
I'm my own worst critic. And often when I look at stuff or listen to stuff that I've recorded 6 months down the line, I listen to it with less critical ears.
Yeah.
So I have to do it. But yeah, we need that process of self-analysis to improve. You know.
The thing for me is as soon as I know it's being recorded, my whole brain goes like to mush.
Isn't that the truth for all of us?
I don't know. I think some people look. I think you have to condition yourself. Like I say, Jess knew he was recording every night, and he got better and better and better and better. But for me, if I play a great gig and then someone goes, "Oh, I recorded it," then you go, "Wow, let's have a listen." But if someone says, "Oh, we're going to record it tonight," then you're like, "Oh, let's just play the safe game because then at least it comes out okay."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And James Anderton has asked, who would you most like to work with, past and present, and why?
I think present would be John Mayer, just because I think he's got a great mindset. He's got a great writing ability. He's got every guitar chop and an idea, and I think his writing's phenomenal. So that's for present. And past, I think it has to be Jimi Hendrix, because when I started playing guitar, you had to be a Clapton or Hendrix fan. You couldn't be both, and you had to like either Fender or Gibson. You couldn't have both, and so I did the Fender and Clapton. And who knows where we would be as a nation of guitar-loving people if Jimmy was still alive. So just to go back and have a jam session with Jimmy, I mean, like, you know, music's been sculpted by a million guitar players, but I think one of the great ones that was lost well too early was Jimi Hendrix.
And who's some of the best artists that you've uh, sort of played with on stage and stuff like that? Who would you?
Well, funny enough, I have two short answers for that. One was Joe Bonamassa. I managed to open up for Joe Bonamassa, and then back in 2000, I want to say 6 or 7, maybe 8, in Derby. It's his first time in the rescue rooms, I think. And I opened up from acoustically, and then he invited me for a quick like jam for 5 minutes, which is cool. Joe's a real great guy. I mean, I don't know, of course, but you know, he seemed really cool. And a long time ago, I did an American tour, and I did a gig in a place called Nuno's, and the owner said to me, "Do you mind if someone gets up and just does like a bit of a piano, comes and does a bit of a piano jam?" And I was like, "Yeah, I kind of do mind." And he said, "Well, he's well known here," and I said, "Well, I don't really care who he is. He's my gig." And he's like, "Well, yeah, it'd be nice if he gets up." So I said, okay, and I had no idea who this guy was, and maybe you don't, because he's a keyboard player, but in the world of blues, everyone knows. And so I said, what's his name? And only when he told me, I was like, I still don't know who it is. So I said, welcome to the stage, Mr. Pinetop Perkins. Now, Pinetop Perkins was the original keyboard player for Muddy Waters, okay? He's dead now, legend in America, but everyone in the blues world knows who Pinetop Perkins was. I didn't. Now, if you fast forward about 5 years from that, we are playing at the same festival in Maryport in the northwest in England, and I played the gig, and then his band, well, not his band, but there was an American all-star lineup set up, and Pinetop Perkins was in the back, and I kind of like went up to him and I said, "Hey, Pinetop, 5 years ago you got with me," and he was like, "Yeah, I remember." I was thinking, he doesn't remember, of course. He was in his 80s and probably dementia had set in. And he said, "Oh, you must go and play with us." And I was like, "With who?" "Yeah, with us now." So we go on stage, and I'm sharing the stage with Hubert Sumlin, who... So there's Hubert Sumlin, Pinetop Perkins on keys, Willie Big Eye Smith, who's a drummer, James Cotton playing harmonica, and a bass player who was a young bass player. But basically, there was me and the Muddy Waters band. And I was like, what? All of those guys are now died, unfortunately. But, absolutely, truly honoured to be on stage with those guys.
Yeah, I remember watching a video of Eric Clapton's Crossroads at one of his festivals, and Sumlin came on, and they played Killing Floor.
Yeah, I remember. I have the videos.
And Eric did fantastic solo, and And then Hubert came on and just did this solo, and I just thought, you've just kicked Clapton's ass. Fantastic.
Yeah,
So it just got all this, like, almost stumbling over the fretboard kind of thing, but it just sounded fantastic.
yeah, exactly. I mean, these are old guys.
I thought he just completely humbled Eric Clapton.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Jack Taylor, last question is asked, what is your gear setup playing live? Does it change differently, or?
No, it's been the same. I mean, I'm basically now using a Gibson Les Paul. I've played Strats for years, but I've changed to Gibson Les Paul. Into a Fender Tone Master head, an old Fender Tone Master head. I've got a Zilla 2x12 cab that sounds wicked. And then, of course, in between them, I've got all my effects pedals from everything from, I think I sent you a photo, but everything from Strymon to Flashback to, well, what was a Snouse, basically a Bluesbreaker copy. I've now just got taken delivery of a King of Tone, or King Tone Duelist from Jesse Davey, who I mentioned before. The pedals off the charts.
Yeah.
I managed to get all my gear out, almost blew the windows out. But it's basically exactly my tone that I've always loved, just bigger, deeper, richer. So I'll cut through even more than I ever did before. And plus, the bass player will start complaining that he might as well not be there.
Yeah, there's bottom end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. Excellent. Well, look, thanks for those viewer questions. We'll cut off now, and then the next part we'll look at, we'll talk about your albums and everything else. So
cool. No worries. All right.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you soon. All right.
Thanks.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers.